Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for the episode recap on the 11th episode of Teen Mom 2, it's going to be a little bit different from what I usually do because I am literally 2,000 and late on it. So I'm just going to give you my take on like some standout scenes that went on in the episode. So let's start off with Kail. I actually felt really bad for her when she was talking to the producer and Sterling about what happened when Javi sort of essentially broke into the house while she was just there with the boys. And one thing I will say about it though was that I didn't appreciate her like telling Sterling that Javi was like a straight up psycho and stuff like that, because it's like, yeah, he did get into the house and he shouldn't have done that for sure, especially with the young kids being there. But Kail, you've done a lot of things as well that people could call you psycho for. So it's like, calm down a little bit here with the name calling. Like, yeah, tell the story of what happened for sure, but don't like go all crazy and embellish it and call him a psycho and stuff, because at the end of the day, this still is the father of your son, Lincoln, and you two have done a lot of really fucked up things as well that people could call you psycho for, but they just haven't, out of respect for you and your children. So let me just get Chelsea's scenes out of the way here. The only thing that I know is that she and Cole and Aubrey did like this gender reveal photo shoot, then posted it on Instagram. And the second thing was something about like one of those like dummy babies that you get to practice in parenting class that they needed to fill up her scenes with. As you guys know, I typically have her scenes on mute because of the way she, Cole, and her friends speak. Like, it's all just too much for my sensitive ears to handle. And now let's move on over to Miss West Virginia. Something that really stood out to me in the parking lot exchange scene between her and Jeremy was the fact that, like, you know, it was great that she was telling him that she's gonna go back to school and stuff like that, but I did not appreciate her being like, you know what, if I didn't get pregnant, I would still be in school. She kind of tried to act like she just so happened to get pregnant with Addie, like the two of them weren't trying a week after meeting, you know, like you guys tried like what, 2 weeks after meeting and then miscarried your first child, then you tried again for Addie. You didn't just fall pregnant and then have to jump and then have to drop out of school, which you were so passionate about. You literally prioritized having a baby with a stranger over your own education. So it's not, oh, I would have been in school had I not gotten pregnant. Like, you would be still trying to get pregnant and not even done school. Sorry, not sorry, just based on like the way your priorities have always seemed to be set up. You guys, this scene that Javi went and filmed with his friends is probably something that he deeply regrets. Like, dude, you sounded so crazy here. Like, everybody knows I love me some Poppy, but this scene was all kinds of wrong. Like, he's literally sitting there with his friends eating like burgers and fries, being like, okay, so what happened in the whole Kail break-in house thing was the two of us agreed to exchange the kids at Chipotle, which I was going to do as a favor to Kail, and then I was running a little bit late because of traffic, so that really pissed off Kail, I guess. Like, she just snapped and was like, you know what, forget it, I'm heading home. And so I was like, well, dude, I'm only 5 minutes away. I'm not playing these games with you. If you're not gonna meet me at Chipotle, bitch, I'm coming to your house to meet you there. And that's what he literally did. Like, he went to her home and he was like, well, when I got there, I couldn't see her car. I guess it was in the garage at the time. So I went around back, pause over here, because you could not see her and you assumed she wasn't home, you were gonna just break in through the back door and like sit there on the couch waiting for her in the dark with a broken window behind you. Do you have any idea how crazy you sound right now? And so he then says that when he got there, like, the house was so messy. Like, he went through everything, asked her why it was so messy. When he was living there, it was still clean and stuff. And it was like, listen, Poppy, like, it's not your problem whether or not the home is clean or messy. Like, when you left it, it no longer became like your business. You know what I mean? If she wants to have a dirty house, she wants to have a dirty house. And it's not your right to look through it and put up that kind of a scene, especially in front of the children, and to teach them that that's, you know, a proper way to be teaching women or like whomever they decide to get into relationships with later on down the line. That was really, really inappropriate, and I'm pretty sure he deeply regrets, or at least I hope he regrets, you know, that scene and the way that he thinks. But just based on like what I've seen like later on and in like subsequent episodes, I don't think that he understands that what he did there was wrong. Like, just because your name is on a property doesn't mean that you can just jump on in there through the back window anytime you want. And you know what? There are like 3 questions I have about like the way he explained the whole situation. Number 1, he said that Kail left the back door unlocked and that's how he got in. And it's like, Kail, you are on reality TV and you know there are so many like crazy ass people watching you and stalking you and your children. Why would you leave your door open, especially at like night? You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of off. And number 2, Poppy said that he had the keys to the house at that point. So it's like, if you have the keys to the house, why are you going in through the back? And number 3, which is probably one of the most important of all, he said that the whole reason he was going to Kail's house was to pick up the kids. So if you get to the house and you notice that it doesn't seem like she's home, why would you want to go in there? You know, like that was a really, really bizarro scene. He should have just kept all that to his damn self, you know? He did also mention that apparently things got really, really heated to the point where Kail called 911, but because again, his name is on the property, there was nothing they could do about it. So yikes is all I could say. A few really boring scenes went by and then we were back in Kail world. So Kail put on her best like half shorts, half panty hybrid and rolled on up to Jo and V's house. And you guys, the way little Vivi was looking at that heifer, I was like, yes, girl, you better serve her your best side eye. I always believe that children and dogs can see through a person's spirit. They know good people from bad people. So if a child or a dog does not like someone that you have in your home, you need to open that door and kick them the fuck out. And that's the way little Vivi was looking at Kail. And so when she gets over there, she tells Jo and V that like Javi had broken into the house, scared her, scared the kids. Isaac was like, you're not supposed to be here and all this stuff. And Jo was like, wow, that's crazy, that's scary. And then V was like, listen, Kail, like I know that's wrong and stuff, but I feel like you're making him out to be like a psycho. And she was just absolutely 100% not here for Kail's theatrics about the whole situation. And Kail gave her the worst glare ever when she said that. And shortly after, Kail left and V was like, you know what, that might be karma for the way she treated you. And she strongly suggested that Jo stop falling for this chick's okie doke. We all know how dramatic she is when things don't go her way and how she tries to paint everyone a certain kind of way. And V is absolutely seeing right through it and she's not gonna, you know, play around with Kail's games. But in this case, you know what, I do have to say that Kail has a right to be like really shook by what happened. Okay, so now this is where Jenelle's scenes get interesting. So she and David go to pick up Jace from Barbara, and at this point Jenelle's like, I'm not talking to my mom anymore. She won't just give me back, you know, my son like he's some kind of toy, right? And so she waits in the car as David goes out to meet Barbara to go get Jace. And so Barbara starts talking to David about like an upcoming school fundraiser that Jace has going on, and he's listening, you know, like a good potential step parent should be. And at that point, Jenelle's like, what the hell is all this? Just put the child in the car, let's go. And so she texts him, well, thanks for talking to her on camera. Now she's gonna get camera time. Like the only thing this girl is worried about is camera time. She's not even like, you know what, if they're talking this long, maybe there's something going on with school. Maybe Jace did something amazing I should know about. Maybe Jace did something really bad I should know about. Maybe something's wrong that could help him out with. Like maybe something exciting is coming up. Like none of that even crosses her mind because she's not an actual mother, right? She was like, all she was worried about was the amount of camera time Barbara would be getting at this drop off, you know? And so she texts David like, what the heck? Thanks, now you're getting her camera time. And so at that point, Barbara was like, what's wrong with this girl? So she walks over to the car and is like, Jenelle, listen, Jace has his fundraiser going on for school. Like, it would be really great if you can help support him and stuff like that. And Jenelle like shut her the F down. She's like, no, I'm not talking to you on camera. I'm not giving you camera time, not until you give me my son back. And she's just so mean to this nice lady who's been taking care of her child pretty much since birth. And so as usual, we're seeing like the same things we've always seen with Jenelle. Like number one, we've seen that like fame and like pretty much anything in the world comes ahead of whatever's going on in her son's life. Like she couldn't even like fake the funk for a little bit for the cameras. Like if I was mad at my mom or something and like I heard, like I don't have a kid, but like let's say, you know, like I did and I heard that like something exciting was going on in his life, I'd be like, you know what? I can't stand your ass, but I'm gonna listen to this because this is my kid, right? But Jenelle couldn't even do that. And so Barbara rightfully gets upset. And so as always, we see like adults having major fights and like breakdowns and meltdowns in front of Jace. And so little Jace has to comfort Barb when she cries. And that annoying ass producer, what's her name, Kristen or something like that, is like, well, Barbara, do you think Janelle's like really rude to you and mean to you because she just wants her son back? Well, no shit, bitch, she wants her son back, quote unquote, like claims to want her son back, but is she the right parent for the child? How many times do we have to tell you that you cannot just rip out a 7-year-old human from a home and a mother he's known his whole entire life and stick him in a drug den? You know, like he needs time to adjust. And second of all, any rightful parent would be fighting against that. And you know what, let me just rewind and say alleged drug den. And you guys, I absolutely did not forget Leah. What happened in her like whole entire segment, this episode, she was focused on deciding whether or not she wanted to attend beauty school. So she went on an orientation and then found out about the hours, but unfortunately they just were not conducive to her parenting schedule. You know, she's got the kids, what, Friday through Sunday or something like that, and school was Thursday through Saturday, I believe, and so it just wouldn't work because it would take up a lot of, you know, the little time that she has with her daughters. I thought it was great that she was looking at this option, but something that really did trouble me about this was the way that she spoke to her daughters about this at the park. So when she was at the park, she was like talking to them like, hey, mommy's thinking of going to school, but I don't think I'm going to do it because I want to spend time with you guys. Like, she was almost asking for their approval in a certain sense. You know what I mean? And that made me kind of uncomfortable with them being so young. And then second of all, the way that she rationalized not going to school was okay to like talk about with fellow adults, but when you tell your young daughters that you're not going to go to school because you want to focus on, like, you know, parenting and stuff like that, I feel like you're kind of inadvertently teaching them that, you know, that should be their priority in life, to, you know, have kids and stuff and put their education on the back burner and try to fit it in, as opposed to that being something that you should work on first and foremost at, you know, under any circumstance, and then like let the family stuff flow. Though that was my only critique of her. But you guys, I'm so proud of Leah getting back to herself lately, focusing on education and stuff, and it's really nice to watch her journey, especially considering how rough she had it the past few years. So sorry I was late on this, guys. Like, it's winter here in Canada. I think I'm dealing with the winter blues where you're just like freaking all the time. Like, there are stretches of like days that we go with like no sun. Like, it's getting a lot better now, or like the sun would go down by like 2 p.m. Like, I was just so sick, and I'm still so sick and tired of winter, but I'm trying so hard to get back to like my peppy self, to make these videos for you, and thank you so much for your patience through all this. Spring is just around the corner and I'm going to be so much better. As always, I'm more excited to hear what you guys thought about the episode, so leave all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and as usual, we'll chat. You can also like this video, subscribe for more, feel free to share them with your friends as well, and follow me across social media where I do love chatting with you. And you know what? Don't worry. My next episode recap is coming up either later on tonight or early tomorrow. That's all for now, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.